Good afternoon, everybody. On this Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride home. In this episode, we're going to cover the updates to the Baldoni vs. Blake Lively saga. We'll have that first. And then we've got Justice for Clayton info as Laura Owens, the scammer who faked multiple pregnancies, charged with 14 felonies. Well, now she has filed for bankruptcy. We'll share who she owes money to, some surprises, but a lot of it's to Clayton's legal team. So justice for Woodnick Law. Doesn't look like they're going to be getting that money anytime soon. And then we're going to cover Donald Trump giving a giant bailout to farmers, what this means and why they're doing that. And justice for all of the folks in their 40s. A quarterback maybe coming out of retirement in their mid-40s to save an injury-plagued team. I'll explain who that is. A lot to get into. These stories and more starts right now on The Rush. Now, I have to tell you something. I've been exposed. That's right. Check this out. Jordan H., whoever the hell that is, said, by the way, I don't check my DMs often on TikTok. I don't know. There's just too many apps out there. It's annoying, right? But I got this. You are so obviously a Ryan Reynolds plant. Disgusting. Truly. Please wake up. That is dark. Again, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. I don't even know in which video this is in reference to. I wish my haters would cite the video or the quote. I so often go, I can't believe that thing that you said. And I'm always like, I speak a lot of trash. I have no idea what you're talking about. So either way, you can't be something for everybody. But speaking of Ryan Reynolds, how about this update? Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney sell Wrexham stake to U.S. private equity group. I got to tell you, I don't know many examples of private equity groups. That's a good thing. It seems to me as though private equity, that's what just bankrupted Joann's, right? We all loved Joann's fabric. It's so reliable come Christmas time. You know me, I'm a big baker. I love sweets and artistry. And, you go in there for a special cookie cutter and you get that little, powdered sugar thing that makes the snow fall. And they got every color of paper and pen under the sun. Well, they're gone. Why? Because of private equity. So anyway, not a good thing. I think, what was it? Jimmy John's was recently sold to private equity and, it's like, they got good cookies. Well, once private equity gets involved, they'll cut corners. That's what they do. They, give money back to their shareholders or the people that invest in them. But either way, what's interesting about this is you don't even have to get into the article to see club gets boost for development of racecourse ground, but move comes months after it received £14 million state aid. Now listen, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney did do a lot of good for Wrexham from the standpoint where they exposed this kind of down on their luck team to a bigger audience through different brand deals and exposure, getting, name talent to come in X, Y, and Z. But if this is true, that the city funded they call it the race course. That's the pitch or whatever the heck you soccer fans, footies call it. But if it's true that the city paid for this and then they flipped their shares of the ownership, that's kind of shady. But again, maybe they got bills to pay. They got a big lawsuit. Either way, shady. So again, does that mean I'm a Ryan Reynolds plant for calling him out? I don't know anymore. All right, let's go into this. More context to these sexy comments by Justin Baldoni. So he was accused by Blake Lively, of course, of multiple things. And the question is, could you say the wrong thing? Could to live up to the standard that Blake Lively wants people to live is pretty high, considering it's like, look, if I say or do the wrong thing, I shouldn't expect to be sued for hundreds of millions of dollars, right? But in some cases that can happen. And one of those cases is this, really. Blake Lively accused him, and Jenny Slate did, of just, saying people looked sexy, but there's more context to it. And I'm not here to, be apologetic or of what was said. If you make someone feel uncomfortable, apologize and try to do better, right? I think that's where we need to be in society. It's like we're so busy trying to strike people out on the first pitch. Give people a couple chances here, So this is what it was. This is Justin Baldoni's deposition. And like many conversations conversations with Miss Lively, there's a back and forth that can go on for quite some time. It got to the point where I believe I said to her that it looked hot, to which she replied earlier she had said she thought it was cute, and that's why she wanted to wear it. And then I had said it down the line. I had said it looked hot, and she said that's not what I was going for. And then I made a joke. I said, sexy? She goes, not that either. And then immediately I paused and I said, I'm sorry, did I just cross a boundary? And Mrs. Slate shared what we talked about earlier, to which case I thanked them both, apologized to Miss Lively again. I mean, I just think that's the right thing to do, right? You read the room, you say something, maybe you went too far. But look, you have to remember, Justin Baldoni in this circumstance is the director. So I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe he's commenting on Blake Lively's, outfit she's wearing clubbing that night. He's commenting on the outfit that they're approving through wardrobe to wear on the set. So either way, cute, sexy, smoke show, hot. There's just some words that, don't judge. You hate to say it, but it's like, Baldoni was so screwed in this thing that I don't think he could have said the right thing. But either way, in response to Jenny Slate's, so then they move on. The next question is, you didn't mention anything about missing the HR meeting. Did you say anything about missing the HR meeting? He says, yes, I did. In response to Jenny Slate's kind of, as I mentioned earlier, joke, as she was saying, we don't say that anymore, I immediately responded and said, I guess I missed the sexual harassment meeting. Did you miss the sexual harassment meeting? That's why I made the joke, because I did not miss the sexual harassment meeting. So either way, congratulations on perfect attendance for the sexual harassment meeting. But again, this is it's like anything you say can and will be used against you. Then I came back later, 5 minutes later, before we started filming. I thanked Mrs. Slate for what she said. I said something along the lines of, that can't be easy. I wish you didn't need to say what you said. And I really appreciated you sharing that with me. And I apologized again to Miss Lively for using the word sexy as it related specifically to her character's wardrobe. So even Baldoni again mentions it was in relation to your wardrobe. They're not working at Denny's. He's not like, hey, Toots, you look sexy. He's like, the character is supposed to elicit a certain feeling through looks, visuals, and all of that. And that's what it achieved. So anyhow, this is where, we're not talking about judging people on a curve. We're talking about judging people based in the context of the employment, right? This isn't Trump in a cabinet meeting said, hey, Kristi Noem looks sexy. This is the director who's in charge of the video illustration of the words that are being said by people, the tone that's being used, and the visuals that are being shared. Anyhow. And you're not, like, I'm not defending calling it sexy. You need an intimacy coordinator on set, but you kind of need like a wardrobe translator so that the director doesn't insult the talent. Boy, talk about walking on thin ice. All right, let's move it on from here. Oh, no, we have one more Blake Lively story. April Flowers shared this. I thought this was interesting. On Twitter, she says, you know what I just clocked? Both of the actors in the main cast of The Housemaid reposted the New York Times article in their stories in support of Blake Lively. Oh boy, again, I didn't have my X-Files music ready, but this is another case of it right here. So you've got multiple men that reposted the New York Times article in their Instagram stories supporting Blake Lively are cast in The Housemaid. And again, that could be a coincidence. Here's Michael Marone, and I haven't vetted this. I'm just going off of this. So, if this is wrong, we'll correct it. And then there is Brandon Sklenar, both men that supported Blake. I think both got signed to WME this year. No one else posted the complaint, so I think that's why they got the best rewards. Bet Isabella wishes she would have posted that link. Yeah, look, Isabella could have shared this link, and she'd be, young Taylor Swift or whatever. All right, let's move it on from here. We got a lot to get into. I'll tell you what, this is interesting, and I'm not surprised. Breaking news from victims of Laura Owens. Laura Owens has filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in the state of Arizona. So the documents are there, and people said, it must be the same one, right? She's clogging up. I mean, she really has just taken an absolute metaphorical dump all over the court system. I mean, if you live in Arizona, every single resident of Arizona has probably spent several dollars of their taxpayer money going to Laura Owens. And coming up after the break, I'm going to share who she owes money to. This coming next. Ever had that last pair of contacts panic? Now I don't even worry about it because my next set is always on the way from 1-800-CONTACTS. They're the only major contact lens retailer that lets me renew my prescription online so I can get my contacts fast. 1-800-CONTACTS has fast, free shipping and delivers the same contacts my doctor prescribes right to my door. It's totally no risk with free returns and exchanges, plus they offer a best price guarantee. I order online, they deliver for free, and I can even renew my prescription from home. It's simple, reliable, and it saves me a ton of time and frustration. If you hate running out of contacts or having to make an eye doctor appointment every time you're running low, 1-800-CONTACTS is the best solution. They will save you time and money. Getting contacts doesn't have to be a hassle. Let 1-800-CONTACTS get you the contact lenses you need right now. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com or download the free 1-800-CONTACTS app today. You don't have to let big wireless and your overpriced phone bill suck the joy out of the holidays this year, because right now all of Mint Mobile's unlimited plans are 50% off. You can get 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. It's their best deal of the year and makes it real easy for you to give your expensive wireless bill the Scrooge treatment. All Mint plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. I use Mint and you should too. No contracts, no nonsense. Turn your expensive wireless presence into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/TRH. That's mintmobile.com/TRH. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 35 gigabytes, may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Well, here it is from the Victims of Laura Owens website. On December 8th, 2025, one day before her judgment debtor exam in the Owens v. Eckerd's case, a case she lost and owed over $195,000 in attorney's fees and costs, Laura Owens filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. In her filing, Laura Owens claims to have assets worth $19,950 and a staggering $263,000 in liabilities. She is quite the liability. She states her monthly expenses are $3,300. Now, my question is, what are her expenses? She lives at her parents' house. That's a lot of burritos you got to buy. I know, you got to spend money at Billy's boot camp or whatever she goes. Bobby's, what is it? Bobby Slay's boot bonanza, whatever class she takes. The following are her listed creditors. So she owes, Clayty Eckerd, $196,000. And by the way, you know what? If people can't pay the money they owe, can't they just, can't Clayton hire her? Now, of course, he's not going to want to do this, but, I'm sure he needs some people to clean his pool. Shouldn't he get free pool cleaning from Laura Owens for the rest of her life as, pays it off? Get some, I don't know, right? It's like you just get to file bankruptcy. How about, she has to mow his lawn or something? I don't know. They live in Arizona. They don't have lawns. All right, either way, she owes a mental health company. No surprise. The only surprise there is she doesn't owe him more money. And by the way, not a good look for the mental health company. It's like clearly their results are limited. Anthem Law, $4,000. She owes Capital One $235. Cherry Tech, I don't know, it's a bank. January Technologies, whatever the hell that is. Carlsrud Law, she owes them $14,000. That was her last law firm. Macy's, oh boy, she even owes Macy's. How will they ever survive? No Waste Grindings. I don't know what that is. That sounds like something you would do after a nightclub. Well, how was it last night? Well, we did No Waste Grindings. All right, and then Zip Pay. So a lot of random companies, and she's stiffing the bill, as it were. This pisses me off that one. There was that one contractor who was forced to pay her money when she kind of changed what work she wanted done, and she almost sunk that guy's company. I just hate that he had to pay her, and after all of that, she's just the one sort of unable to pay for the work she got done. So I responded, Kalsrud got paid what he was worth. Serves him right for not doing a proper Google search. And then someone actually underneath that said, actually, she probably paid him $100,000. And then that's where the GoFund money probably went. And then the $14,000 is what was billed after the retainer was exhausted. I mean, either way, look, I can't blame lawyers for getting their bag. Everyone's entitled to a defense, but it is pretty wild that he comes in like, got his hair slicked back, like, I'm going to defend her in this case, and then takes her money, and then he's like, I got to go. Look, they all used her. All of these men, Gingras, Kalsrud, they all just saw someone, they got their paycheck, and then they got out. And it's like, what are you supposed to do? So someone had to represent her, I guess. Well, excuse me, I'm wrong. She never paid David Gingras, as far as I know, which is wild. The amount of this poor bastard, this guy, right? I don't know if his wife's leaving him. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't want to get into the weeds of it. The guy got a DUI again, his second or third one. I have no idea. He's, and now after all of this talk of like making fun of us for being on YouTube, the best chance he has to make any money is to join YouTube and actually start making videos. So that's what he's doing. Because let me tell you right now, Laura Owens ain't paying you. What's crazy about this is, first of all, Laura tried to sue Clayton for like $1.4 million or whatever, because like she tried to extort him. She basically said, if you pay me this money, I'll drop the case, which that's extortion if you ask me. But what do I know? You know what I mean? But what's crazy is that she claimed to have like something like $400,000 in a money market account, and was using that to tell Clayton she was going to buy a home, and that's why he was her realtor and whatever. And meanwhile, the chick can't even pay Macy's. You know what I mean? It's like, she's talking about buying homes. She can't buy jeans. What are you doing? And again, I'm not here to fiscally shame her. It's just wild that when you look behind the curtain and see Oz, it is not a giant, monolithic creature. It is a scared woman who cannot pay her credit card bill. So there she is. And, that Hyundai Tucson, I guess, will be repossessed pretty soon. I don't know. Should we buy it? Should we get a car? All right. No, no amount of those fragrant Christmas trees is going to. Okay, you get the point. So let's move it on from there. So we covered this morning Tim Pool. Absolute crash out, right? He lost his mind. I don't even think I can play it for you guys. He's banging. He's, banging on really having a temper tantrum. And look, I don't blame him. Some people shot at his house or whatever. There's no, any violence of any sort is never the solution. So he's just going off, and we covered it this morning. We had to bleep all day long. And then he basically said Candace Owens is the reason that Republicans are going to lose the midterms, which, by the way, is absolutely insane. There's one person responsible for why the Republicans are going to lose the midterms, and he's Donald Trump. I mean, what are you talking about? So Candace replied, I cannot explain it, but I sense that this isn't actually about me and that Tim Pool is under tremendous financial pressure. Men behave a certain way when they are under economic pressure, and I feel like he's just lashing out, and I happen to be here. I think there's a little bit more responsibility than that, but he is lashing out. And then she said, he is genuinely not well right now. I wouldn't turn this into a cheap internet moment. There's just so clearly something personal going on in his life. It's hard to run a business, and he's under pressure. Pray he comes through it. Now, again, you could say the same about Candace Owens, right? She's under pressure. She's being sued by a president. She claims she's, they were trying to assassinate her. Again, I don't think she ever filed any police reports over that, but either way, a lot of pressure building up with these conservative commentators. There's a lot of infighting. It's messy as hell. And somehow in the comment section, they're blaming the liberals. I don't know. Maybe they think the left-leaning people are shooting guns. I thought it was all the right with the guns. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know. Well, speaking of Trump and the man to blame, look, he tries this bold idea, which literally nobody wanted to do, which is to tariff other countries. And it doesn't work when you do blanket tariffs, and you're supposed to have congressional approval. He didn't do any of that. Essentially, when companies buy products out from outside the country, they have to pay more with these tariffs attacks, and then they pass that down to the consumer because they're not going to lose money, right? And that's what we're noticing. That's partly why there's inflation and all these issues. But because of this tinkering of the really worldly economy, it's led to some farmers literally not being able to sell anything. And so because of that, now we have Trump offering them a bailout, which is what it is, which is socialism, right? When the government uses taxpayer money to help people get through things. It's not capitalism. Capitalism would mean that the farmers have to fail. Now, I know that's not a perfect explanation of what's going on here, but hey, I do my best. I'm public school educated. But the point is that whenever they do socialism, but whether it's for the rich, like tax, or bailouts for banks or, things like that, they don't want to make it seem that way, right? When it's money that's given to a single mom, they call it a bailout. But now it's called a aid package, and it's like, call it what it is. You're bailing them out because you had shitty policies. Have a listen.
Happening right now at the White House, President Trump is hosting a roundtable discussion with farmers. He announced a new $12 billion aid package to help farmers who are struggling because of his trade war with China. Joining us, Arkansas soybean farmer Scott Brown. Scott, really good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Katie.
$12 billion. How's that sound to you?
Well, I appreciate the help.
By the way, I absolutely hate news when they don't turn the volume off of the audio. Like, what are they doing here? This is so obnoxious.
It's a far cry from what we need. Just the loss in corn this year with a record crop was over 16 billion. The loss in soybeans at production is around 11 billion. That doesn't count cotton and rice, which are even bigger losses than that.
So this $12 billion is not going to make up for this 1 year? I mean, say China goes back to buying soybeans and other crops as they were buying before this trade war. Is $12 billion not enough to bridge that gap?
Probably not.
All right. So, and by the way, it's money that's coming from taxpayers. So we're essentially funding the farmers for Donald Trump's terrible policies. And what do we get out of it? Now, China's, they're going to, and this is a problem, right? Like other countries are finding new trade partners. They're not going to go back. It's almost like if you, got in a fight with your hairstylist and then you went to a new hairstylist and you kind of like that new hairstylist and maybe it's a penny cheaper. You're not going to go back to that old hairstylist. That's what the U.S. is right now. Whether it's China doing business with Argentina or Canada doing business, it doesn't matter. What matters is they don't view the United States as reliable. We are no longer a reliable booty call. They're calling someone else. And here we have one of the seditious six, as they call him, astronaut, hero, American hero, Senator Mark Kelly, really describing what it's been like to deal with President Trump and being under pressure of investigation. They want to court-martial him, all because he told military officials to follow the law, which is to not take unlawful orders and execute them.
Normal to have a president of the United States saying, we're just going to kill people. Or a Secretary of Defense being out there running around on a stage like this. Bigger generals and admirals in the audience running around saying warrior ethos and lethality, and we're going to hunt and kill people. Hunt and kill people. That's not about our national defense. That's about something else. And I became really concerned.
And that's the type of leader we need in office. Someone that de-escalates, not Pete Hegseth, someone who's insecure and he's got this ego or alcoholic rage or whatever he's got that wants to change defense to war. That really illustrates what's wrong with our country right now. Now, there's a lot of different issues, but the idea that we are like going on the proactive as Department of War It's like that's the tone and the energy that's completely wrong. It takes away the humility and of what the United States aspired to be, which is to try to help out other nations. And again, it falls short in many different ways, but Department of War, that ain't it. So here, this is what's so interesting. I called this out a week ago. The idea that Mark Kelly and the 5 others, they call them the Seditious Six, they set an absolute trap for Donald Trump, and he fell right into it.
This is one of the more brilliant things that the Democrats have done. So let me set the scene for people. 6 congressional leaders got together on the Democratic side. They ran a video saying that the military should not obey illegal orders. And that's their code of ethics. They should not do that.
And those 6 members, just briefly, were all either retired military or retired intelligence services.
Exactly. And this is so important because usually Trump baits them and then they go up like bottle rockets and they shoot up all over the place. But they baited him. All Trump had to say is, hey, I agree with those 6 senators. I have never, and Pete Hegseth has never given an illegal order, nor would we ever, moving on. But they didn't do that, Katty. And a result of which they claim sedition. And now you've got a tribunal going after Senator Kelly. And this is such a bro code violation.
Yeah, so they're obviously, those that have to go after Senator Kelly, they know that it's a sham. And of course, it's going to be handled as such. But yeah, it's very interesting that Mark Kelly and the Seditious Six, as they're called, they knew what was in that. They knew there was video footage, right? They knew that they had violated the law, and they called them out on it kind of subtly. And then, they laid that trap. All right, how about this? Let's wrap it up on this interesting story here. Colts are calling up 44-year-old Philip Rivers amid quarterback crisis. So all of their backups are injured. They don't have a quarterback. And Philip Rivers, I guess, retired in like 2021. So he's old. Now, listen, I'm 40. And I got aches. Okay, I can tell when the clouds are coming in. My knees make noise every time I bend over, and it's a rough time out there. Pray for me. So, but at the same time, you love to see people defy age. It's like Tom Brady. If Tom Brady wanted to come out of retirement, he could win a couple of games. I mean, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, and I won't have it any other way. So we'll have to see. Now, the interesting thing is, if he does play a snap in the NFL, it will delay his Hall of Fame status because you have to be retired for 5 years before you can get nominated into the Hall of Fame. So we'll have to see. I think he'll have to, come on. I think it's like a Disney movie. Come on, come back, put some knee pads on, get your ibuprofen and a heat pad and a warm compress and get out there and play with the kids. And he is a grandfather, I think, too, which is really funny to see a grandfather out there. Don't tackle me. When I was your age, we didn't have CTE or whatever. All right. Well, those are your stories for this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed and have a good rest of the evening. We'll be back tomorrow to continue to round up all of this week's wild events. We'll see you then. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.